If you study military history long enough, you eventually realize that survival on the front lines wasn't only about battles, tactics or weapons. It was often about endurance at the most basic human level. Sleep became a tactical resource, a currency soldiers traded in minutes, not hours. And in 20-degree trenches, where cold cut deeper than shrapnel and exhaustion made even the strongest men hallucinate, certain sleeping tricks weren't optional. They were the difference between waking up and never waking again. Before we get into these field-tested methods, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss the kind of deep survival history that separates casual viewers from serious students of the past. What follows isn't romanticized. These are the raw, brutal techniques soldiers used to stay alive when frostbite and trench collapse threatened them as much as enemy fire. And if you're a survival enthusiast, you'll recognize that many of these methods still apply in cold weather emergencies today. The truth is, the trenches were nature's classroom, and soldiers paid for every lesson with blood, breath, or bone-deep fatigue. Soldiers learned to sleep in rotations so the body never cooled past the point of recovery. Frontline troops understood quickly that long, uninterrupted sleep was impossible and unsafe in freezing trenches. The moment the body entered deeper sleep stages, core temperature dropped, which was deadly in the cold. Rotational sleeping, 20 to 40 minutes at a time, kept the body from slipping into the kind of temperature decline that could lead to hypothermia. This wasn't a luxury. It was survival math. Today, anyone caught in a cold weather emergency can apply the same principle. If you're stuck outdoors with little insulation, avoid long sleep cycles. Set alarms or rotate with the partner so neither person enters dangerous cooling phases. This is the type of technique that keeps lost hikers alive through the night. Men slept sitting up because, well, lying down meant losing body heat to the frozen ground. It's counterintuitive until you've actually tried it. Ground contact is honestly one of the fastest ways the human body sheds heat. Soldiers in 20-degree trenches understood that lying flat was an invitation to hypothermia. So instead they slept sitting upright, often with their knees pulled in to trap warmth. They leaned against trench walls, rifles, packs, or even one another. Modern survivalists can practice this by using a pack, tree trunk or rock as a backrest, and by keeping as little surface area as possible touching the cold ground. Even a 2-minute test in cold weather will show you why this method mattered. Your body heat stays trapped in your torso rather than draining into the soil. Troops shared body heat without hesitation because, honestly, pride killed faster than cold. If there was one rule the trenches burned into men quickly, it was that survival trumped embarrassment. Soldiers huddled together, shoulder to shoulder, or even chest to back, because shared body heat created a microclimate that pushed the temperature high enough for actual rest. This wasn't camaraderie. It was thermodynamics. Anyone outdoors today can use this method when temperatures drop, especially if wet clothing or wind exposure is involved. 2 people pressed together can add several degrees of warmth, enough to reverse early signs of hypothermia. Sleeping near heat sources was valuable, but controlling condensation was absolutely essential. Soldiers often slept near small braziers or makeshift tin can stoves when they could safely use them. But, you know, heat created moisture, and moisture killed. Wet socks, wet blankets, or a damp uniform could freeze solid by morning. So, soldiers placed garments at a distance where heat dried them without soaking them in condensation. The principle is extremely practical today. If you dry gear near a heat source, keep it just far enough away to warm slowly. Steam equals moisture, and moisture equals freezing risk once the fire dies. They elevated their feet because swelling limited circulation and made cold injuries worse. Cold trenches restricted blood flow, especially to the extremities. Soldiers learned to elevate their feet on packs, on trench boards, or on stacked gear, while grabbing moments of sleep. This reduced swelling and kept circulation moving, lowering the risk of frostbite. Modern campers and survivalists can apply this simply. Elevate your feet before sleeping in cold environments. Even a small elevation can help blood move more effectively and keep toes warmer through the night. Keeping boots on while sleeping became a necessity because frozen leather could trap a man in place. Removing boots in freezing trenches was a gamble. Boots often froze stiff overnight, making them impossible to put back on quickly. An unacceptable delay during an attack or sudden evacuation. Soldiers slept with boots on, even if it sacrificed comfort. From a modern standpoint, this practice still matters when temperatures drop below freezing. If you must remove boots, keep them under your coat, inside your sleeping bag, or near a heat source to prevent stiffening. Cold leather can cost you mobility, and mobility is survival. They created windshields using anything available because, honestly, wind was deadlier than cold itself. Even a light wind dramatically increases heat loss. Soldiers constructed quick windbreaks with packs, trench boards, sandbags, or even stacked helmets. By blocking wind from the torso, they trapped a layer of still air that made sleep possible. Anyone sleeping outdoors should apply this immediately. Shield your torso and head first. Even a small barrier, a jacket draped over a stick, a backpack placed upwind, can reduce wind chill enough to preserve body heat. Sleep became a tactical act, not a comfort, and soldiers learned to control breathing to preserve heat. Slow, controlled breathing reduced moisture inside collars and blankets and kept heat from rapidly escaping the lungs. Soldiers tucked scarves or coat collars around their mouths and breathed through fabric to warm incoming air. In survival scenarios today, breathing through a sleeve, scarf or neck gaiter helps maintain warm, moist air around the face and slows heat loss from the chest. These 8 sleeping methods weren't theories. They were the cold, unsentimental reality of survival in 20-degree trenches. The soldiers who mastered them endured. Those who ignored them didn't last long. And for anyone serious about understanding historical resilience or improving real-world survival skills, these lessons still hold their full weight. If you want more hard history and survival knowledge broken down with this level of depth, make sure you subscribe, share the channel with other history buffs, and keep building the kind of understanding that honors the past while preparing you for the future.